And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cheshire Cast. I am Corey, along with
Tricia,
and we are in the studio. Good news. It's becoming more of a studio because, yay! I finished trimming the back room.
Oh, I have to look at the windows.
Yes. So the room behind us now has trim. I'm almost done with the baseboard. The heat is in. The HVAC works.
Nice.
Fixed the door. Got a new doorknob. Deadbolt.
Oh, to the outside?
Yeah.
Good.
I have added value to the home, which is good because we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Adding value to your home. And
it took you about 10 years.
It did. I pulled the first permit in 2009.
But it's moving fast. I saw it about a year ago, and it was plywood.
Well, it's amazing what happens when your wife threatens you with divorce.
Is it? I'll add that to my repertoire.
Yeah, I did a 180. I was like, okay.
I don't know if it works joking. The same on every.
She didn't. That's a forbidden word in the house.
Is it?
She didn't threaten me with that.
Okay. You're joking.
Yes. What it was is I just needed. I needed to get it done because I'm trying to find a place to actually have a full-time studio, as you know.
I know.
But I need a place that I could set up as an actual studio. So I'd say by the end of first quarter next year, this will be a nice little room. We'll have a YouTube thing. We'll have some cameras. It'll be great.
We're going live.
Yes.
No, not live. I'll edit the videos to match the what is this, audio?
Whatever
Okay.
we do.
All right.
We'll have a green screen. We'll do all that stuff.
Really? That sounds so fancy. You're going like you don't do anything like halfway.
Fancy pants.
You do. You go over the top. Like it can't just be like a podcast. Now it needs to have a green screen and special effects. And
Arnold's going to be on the show. We're going to have
Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
We're going to have we'll have an action-packed podcast.
Terminator 10?
Yeah. Well,
can I wear the silver suit?
I'll have all famous.
I want like those stabby hands.
Yes, you can get that.
Awesome.
And I'm just going to have these famous action heroes just
do cameos.
Yeah.
Just break through the wall.
like the Kool-Aid guy. What did he say when he busted the wall?
Oh, yeah.
So, who's with us today, Tricia?
We have... he does this to me every week. We have Phil Giampietro.
Giampietro.
Just Pietro. Did I make it too fancy?
Giampietro is really proper, but we go by Giampietro.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. I have to pronounce it wrong. Like it's just in my stars.
Well, and look the way it's spelled. How could you pronounce that? How do you pronounce that?
Giampietro. I had your son on, and I probably pronounced it wrong then, too.
You did.
Even with practice, it happens. Second, I have to say it comes out wrong. And he brought along with him...
James Allen.
And they're kind of partners. They work together.
Yes. And I'm going to let Phil and James know that I've been collecting her mispronunciations of people's names. And
some are better than others.
We're going to release an episode of just that. I've got like 8 minutes of it. It's hilarious.
Interesting.
Oh, so, it's awful.
Welcome,
it's awful.
Welcome to the podcast studio. Phil, we've been wanting to get you on for a while. I've completed the Giampietro trifecta. I've had Brian on. I've had Katie on, his daughter-in-law, and now you're here. I got to get your daughter on, and then we'll be good.
Well, my daughter, I have another son out there too.
What about his wife?
Another son out there. Mm-hmm. The newspaper article I read to get all your background lied because it says 2 kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's not right.
It doesn't list your other kid.
There's a junior of me out there.
It only listed 2. It said 2 children.
No, 2 boys and a girl.
Oh, look at me.
So it lists daughter and son, not 2 daughters?
It just said 2 children in the article I read.
Record Journal.
Unbelievable.
Was this the New York Times or anything, or the Wall Street Journal?
I don't remember what newspaper it was.
It was the dark webs.
You Google, you type in the name.
He was buying your social security number, and that's what came up.
Yeah, I have a few, so don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
Okay, yeah.
I suggest that.
What do you have, the go bag with 14 different identities just in case?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Different currencies. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah. So you Phil, have a pretty solid connection to Cheshire, yeah?
I'm gonna say I've been here my whole life.
Yeah.
I did move here as a young child at age 4, but I'm gonna give it to my whole life at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, you've worked in town since you've graduated high school.
Yep, I graduated high school in '79. My family owned a landscaping nursery business called Westbrook Nursery that has since closed up. They retired, and they operated that business on Waterbury Road for about 54 years.
And then you worked for the Public Works for a little bit.
I started at Public Works. From there, I became a police dispatcher.
Mm-hmm. And then 25 years on Cheshire Police.
That's correct.
Retired 2011 as a sergeant.
That's correct.
You policed the community you lived
I
in.
got the rest of the notes right.
You did. No, you did okay with that.
And I also, in your career, one of the things I read in the article was 800 plus DUI arrests.
That's accurate.
And multiple honors from Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
25 consecutive years.
That's pretty incredible, I think.
Thank you.
You have to know what you're looking for. You have to know how to assess that situation. I mean, I have always said to all of my police officer friends, I'll run into a burning building any day. Walking up to a car in the middle of the night seems like the scariest thing to me. Is you just
even in Cheshire?
Yeah.
Anywhere. You never know.
Who knows who's driving through? That's always been the scariest thing to me. I mean
that number of DUI arrests seems so high. Obviously it is because you were honored by MAD. Was there a time there where it was changing over from letting people go to saying, no, this is serious, you're going to get a ticket?
We were very proactive on the onset of my career in the mid-'80s. Things have changed. Things were changing then. More public knowledge on the dangers of driving after drinking, and there was a lot more
tolerance levels. And
a lot changed. A lot really was changing. There was more establishments around than there are today. Just the general feeling as time went on of how serious getting behind the wheel after having drinking has changed.
And it impairs your driving to the point where now it's illegal. People are getting hurt. We're going to no more.
Right. And, there was definitely what they started enforcing the operating under the influence law, you used to see a downgrade in
it's
the
like
accidents.
Texting and using your phones as soon as they, start collecting data and enforcing. It does drastically reduce people
lot
doing
changed.
it.
Yeah, the underage enforcement picked up, and a lot did change and really changed on the onset of my career. But you could see that those numbers, as the years went on, did start to drop off because people were paying more attention to what they were doing.
Consequences
so it is
will do
working. It was working. The enforcement, the education was working for sure.
That's like more than one DUI arrest every 2 weeks through your whole career.
Yep.
Yeah, there were days that
somebody in the room is good with numbers.
That's greater
Thank
than
goodness.
greater than twice a month.
That's my finance guy over there.
Yeah. I was using that to set it up.
Don't you love it when a segue just falls in your lap like that?
Yeah.
Speaking of finance.
Speaking of numbers. You also a lifelong Cheshire, Rick?
I don't live in Cheshire currently, but I did grow up in Cheshire. So I moved to Cheshire in the first grade, and I was here right through till I turned about 19 years old. And my family actually relocated to Oklahoma. I stayed in Connecticut. So
where in Connecticut are you?
I married into the Farmington Valley, where my wife is from. So
okay.
we're out that way.
So that's where you're Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
My parents moved to Oklahoma when I was 19.
Yes.
You visit? I've never been.
Yeah, I do.
It's interesting.
Once in a while. I mean, since we've had children, they come here more often than that. But yeah, I grew up in Cheshire. Was actually Brian Giampietro was my best friend growing up. He taught me how to play guitar.
He doesn't like you anymore?
No, we're still great buddies. We talk all the time.
Well, was past tense.
Well, Katie's his best friend now, right?
Yeah.
Safe answer.
You're still close friends.
Safe answer.
We're good friends. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So it seems like a hard guy to not be friends with.
His dad.
There's nobody nicer. Brian gets his work ethic from Phil, no doubt, though.
He also got seed money for his initial store from his dad. That's a quality father right there.
It was an interesting time in our lives, yes.
That's
As my
awesome.
24-year-old wanted to open up his own business, yes.
And you supported him, not only
I did.
emotionally, but you said, here, I trust you enough, here's some money to do it. That's awesome.
Yes, we did. My wife and I put a lot on the line for that, but we believed
Look
in
what
him.
happened.
Yep.
During the recession, nonetheless.
And a guitar store during the recession
Right.
when
Retail business.
Right.
retail,
In the world of in the world of like online.
when eBay and
Yeah.
Amazon and yeah, good for you. Look at
Yeah.
you. You should be a betting man.
That's a whole lot of trust.
It is. And I bet even if it didn't work out, it would have been fine. Parents are just like that.
I think you knew it was going to work.
I was confident with I know my children have a work ethic is a great way to say it. He knew what he was doing. He was well established even before he opened up his own business. He already
He said,
had
we're
a following.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was working for his
Your-
uncle.
your brother?
I think your brother.
Yeah, my brother. He was working down on Audubon Street, in New
Yeah.
Haven, and they moved over to East Street and opened G Guitars. Brian eventually became the manager, and it took on a life from there where he went out on his own.
Yeah. So
How is it that our episodes are they meld together?
because it's the Cheshire cast, and
Okay.
that's the intent,
It's local.
to have a cast of
Even if
connection.
that's the intent, you have a great guest on, and then his dad comes on, and we can link the episodes up. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. You were brought up and spoken very highly of on that episode.
Yes, you heard that. I'm sure.
I did play it a few times so I could hear it over and over
Just
again.
just a few times, just like that 1 minute segment on repeat in the car. Like he put it on his iPad, and it just
That's your daily motivation now.
I did do that. No, I'm only kidding.
It was a great episode.
Well, I think you'll appreciate the commentary in the episode I just released about West Main Music Academy, where I said West Main Street, which is now known as Giampietro Boulevard. So
We like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
pretty, and that's exactly what Katie said, and Gary. That no, Phil's gonna love that.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like it. Good stuff.
It's got a good ring to it, doesn't it?
It does have a good
He's
ring
writing
to
it down right now.
Mhm, yeah.
Oh,
Gonna
we could-
get a sign made.
We can make that happen. Why though? Why did you decide to join the police department, Phil? And we're gonna ping pong
You know,
back and forth.
I have to be quite honest with you. I probably would have done it sooner, but I was just so young. I was just something I had an interest in. I had that application when I was right out of high school.
Yeah.
But, I was involved in a family business, and that was just the kind of the way you did it. You went into the family business.
Mhm.
And then it just, from there, between working with the family business and I don't have to tell you how hard it is to work with family, then I ended up working for the town and just kept going I actually worked for the town for 30 years in different capacities. I was also the assistant dog warden too.
No kidding.
Yeah.
He's had 5 careers,
Yeah.
all successful too.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So it seems.
Yeah.
Um.
A dog warden.
So
That was one of the most difficult ones, honestly.
I bet.
I'd
Yeah.
imagine.
The
Don't-
amount of loose dogs in Cheshire, I bet you were kept busy.
Don't mess around with people's pets. They get really mad at you.
True.
Well, there's a famous YouTube video where a lady sends her pit bull to attack a dog warden.
What is a dog warden? Like an ASPCA person?
Don't ask me. Ask the guy who
That's-
actually
yeah,
was a
that-
dog
that-
You
warden.
come
that's
over to
correct.
investigate,
well,
like-
Well, in my day, it was called a dog warden. Today, it's called an animal control officer.
Okay.
So it's the same. They investigate animal complaints. Take care of licensing dog bites, things like to stray dogs. And
Did you ever have to
animals.
wrestle a bear?
I did not wrestle a bear.
Oh, that would have been a great story.
Yeah.
That would have really
I mean,
made
if you think
I
it'll
hear
sell,
there's a moose
if you
in
think
town.
it'll sell airtime, I'll.
tell him about the time you wrestled a bear.
Okay. This is the time
What
I've
about
got
that
it.
moose you tripped?
The moose? That was a whole nother. Maybe another episode. I don't think we have enough time for the moose.
You're so you have a Phil Jr. You have Brian.
Phil Jr. is the oldest.
Yep.
Um,
And is he in law enforcement?
Phil Jr. is also in music.
So okay.
Phil
So
Jr.
nobody followed in the family footsteps.
No, Phil Jr. is the director of bands at Staples High School,
Oh, that's fantastic. Staples High School is where?
Westport.
Okay.
Yeah, it's we're very happy for him there. We're very proud. It's quite a nice job that he was able to
Do you
capture.
play music?
I play the radio. Yes,
Your wife? She
she plays the radio as well.
So where did they?
No idea. My brother, my only sibling, my brother is a music major as well.
No kidding.
No,
Yeah,
we
just-
don't really know where it came from.
Wow. Maybe
Not a dog warden among the kids. See how that happens?
Well, I was more implying police work, but
No, the only other one that followed me was my first cousin, Joe.
and he's still on the police force.
Yeah. So he's my uncle's, my father's brother's son.
Got it. Yeah, I just dealt with him in my daughter's first fender bender.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, it was fine.
Don't take this out on me.
No.
It was the casualty was a mailbox and like an
Yeah,
axle.
Joe's a great guy.
It was very easy to work with. But,
Good.
you know, I've seen him a couple times on.
Oh, he's in
other-
Cheshire as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I'm glad you're getting sharper.
I am. I catch
Awesome.
on quick.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, if you don't necessarily police in an area that you live in.
Where are you from?
New York City.
New York City? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's very rare you get the neighborhood that you live in. And here it's not the case.
Right.
So you retire from the police department, and you're sitting around one day, and you say, "I'm going to sell houses."
No, what happened was a couple years before I retired, Brian and Katie were looking to buy a condo. And one of the police officers on my shift was a real estate agent. So he helped my son Brian out, and I got very involved with it. And I was 2 years away from retirement, and I thought, you know what, I think I can do this. I think I'll like to do it. And from that point, I got my license within a couple of months, and I started working in real estate part-time before I retired.
And now you are a very successful real estate agent based on some of the numbers that I've seen.
Yes, I'm doing well, and
You can pat yourself on the back here. That's what
Uh,
it's for.
He's very humble.
He hustles. It sounds like he hustles.
He's very
yeah,
humble.
I'm not.
He
good
doesn't
at that
read his
part.
own press clippings.
Yeah.
Corey's like, what? I'll read them for you.
Yeah.
He'll record them and you can listen to them in your car.
So yeah, I've been. I'll be in real estate 10 years next year. So 9 years.
But you have a couple awards in real estate too.
I've hit from some criteria or award levels, as we'll call it. So I'm in the President's Club with Coldwell Banker. You know, in order to do that, you have to exceed 55 closings in a year.
And
55 closings in a year.
And what's your
Quick
best
the
year?
math on that.
Last year
It's
I
at
did
least one
about
a month.
70.
70
Yeah,
closings.
yeah.
4 and change a month.
That
4 and
sounds
change a month, see?
that sounds like a guy who is definitely retired, doing 70 closings a year.
What's left for this dude? When do you rest? You don't like rest. You don't like idle time.
So I'll speak to that. Phil does not rest, and I know that because I'll get a text message. Literally, it'll be 4 a.m. You up? I'm like, no, I'm not awake.
I am now.
He knows it too.
So
You don't sleep.
I do get up at 4 o'clock.
When do you go to bed?
Well,
He's like
you mean
6.
that's a kind of a tricky answer to that, because
It depends, I guess.
it depends if you say what time do I fall asleep or what time do I get up off the couch and go to bed.
Okay.
So
You're a napper.
yeah, I have this problem with the couch. If I sit down on the couch, I fall asleep.
If you stop moving, you
That's-
fall asleep. My husband, the same thing.
Right, that's why I'm sitting
Yeah.
in this chair,
Okay.
because if I sat over there, yeah.
Uh-huh.
no, if my wife and I, well, let's not say my wife and I. We'll say I have a rule where if she goes to bed, I usually go to bed when she does. I have this thing like
Yeah,
we go to bed
agreed.
together.
Mhm.
Once in a while, I'll pass out on the couch, and then I'll wake up at 2:00 in the morning.
You should call me.
I'm all
You
worried
up?
about like,
Phil's at the gym.
well, you know, I wake
He's on his 3rd cup of coffee.
and then I go upstairs, and I'm like,
Good morning.
I'm like, what?
Why didn't you wake me
Why
up?
didn't you wake me up? She's like, you were sleeping. I'm like, yeah, but
Nope. Drag him to bed.
she won't. She won't. If I'm out on the couch, she won't wake me up.
Well, that's kind of sweet.
It is. I get it. But then I wake up and I'm all
You're a
out of
mess.
sorts.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I
Yes.
don't know where I am.
What day is
I
it?
don't know my name anymore.
You can't go back to bed. It's
Yeah,
a mess.
it's-
Your night's ruined. Start over.
Yep. So I started. So now I know Phil will be awake. I'll just call. I'll be like, hey, I can't sleep.
He's going to show up at your door.
That's fine.
Can we talk about some stuff? I have some ideas.
Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You can also show up here, too.
Okay.
So James,
Yes, sir.
you know, I called you Rick before.
I don't think you did.
I don't think you did.
No, I think I did.
If you did,
like
nobody-
Rick James? That's kind of cool.
No, like Rick
You
Allen.
look nothing like Rick James.
I mean, I think Rick James looks pretty good. So
Yeah.
even
Well,
if-
Rick Allen.
He's better living through science.
Rick Allen is the drummer from Def Leppard. The one-armed guy.
Okay.
Yeah, who has one arm, by the way.
Yeah.
Unlike me, who has two arms.
You have two arms.
And your name's not Rick.
And
But
you definitely are not.
But I
with the
swear,
band Def Leppard.
I swear, I called him, or maybe I just thought it. I don't know. My brain is, I'm a mess. Anyway.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. So now I got to make sure that I'm not going to call him the wrong name.
James.
So you
It's Rick.
You're
It is now.
nail gun.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'm James.
So
No,
Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm totally
Hey.
screwed.
Brian.
I'm done.
James Giampietro.
Giampietro.
Giampet, yeah. You say it.
I
You
like
say
the
it
way
better.
she did that.
Yeah.
Well, it did. That's right. I don't say it like that, but that is right. That's
Well,
correct.
why don't you have, you know what? She needs a job. You can hire her to just walk around with you. And
It just so happens. I was talking
Do I
about
have to
another
give you
assistant.
like 10%?
yes,
Great.
but what
Wow.
your job
called
is,
royalty.
all your job is
My
when he
agent.
introduces himself,
It's his cut.
he pauses, you say his name, and then he
Giampietro.
so that's it. That's all she does. She just says your name everywhere you go.
So you're gonna. Now, where did the 10% come in? I have
Ladies
to
and
figure this
gentlemen,
all out.
So you have
Petro.
That's his management fee.
so whatever you pay her, I take 10% of.
Wow.
Oh, you take, I don't give. I see how this works. I didn't sign any paperwork.
Yes.
Don't worry.
All right. Okay.
Well,
I
it's-
got it.
It's like somebody who heralds a king. You know, you walk out into the street.
Bum, ba-da-bum.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Giampietro.
Let's practice.
You said it
Tricia.
wrong.
Practice.
No, I don't want
Can
to
you
practice
tell me
that.
how to say it?
Giampietro.
It's pretty
She's
good.
Right. She's right.
It's pretty freaking
She's
good.
right. Yeah, she's
I
right.
gotta say, I'm pretty freaking.
You know what?
Peace,
Your
Keitra.
closings will go up to 80 if you hire her.
And we have to put like an accente g over the...
What a number.
Today's your day.
That's why I'm here. James Rick Allen.
Yes, sir.
So you met Phil at Coldwell Banker
No, I met Phil when
no.
I was a kid.
when you were a kid, and he dragged you into business with him?
No. I joined the mortgage business 3.5 years ago, and I had known Phil, so obviously I reached out to him. I knew he was successful, and we just basically, within about a year of being in the business, hit it off and started doing a couple of transactions together and figured out that we worked well together and just took
That's
it from
important.
there. Yeah.
So he keeps you busy?
He keeps me very busy.
55 closings in a year.
He's-
That's like a lot of paperwork.
He's modest. 55 is a down year, so.
So
There's that much stuff going on in Cheshire, huh?
do you
Well,
do...
I work the whole state,
Oh, okay.
but the bulk of my business here in Cheshire, which is where I like to work, but I will work anywhere.
Residential or commercial?
Residential. I'll do commercial. It's not my thing. It's a
Different.
little dry for me.
I want to
Okay.
be a real estate agent. I think I'd
Do
be
ya?
good at it.
Let your wife handle the real
Yeah, I
estate.
know.
You can do it
with all the-
part time.
He will do.
With all the free time I have.
You got to chill out.
Well, my wife and I've joked with my wife saying I should get my real estate license. We should be a team, and because I'll do all the getting the
You
client
guys should
stuff,
have one of those homemade
and then she
shows.
could just do the paperwork.
Oh, it sounds
and-
like so much fun for her.
She likes that stuff.
Does she?
That's the part she loves to do. She loves to
then
do
that
all
works
the
out
stuff.
okay. But you guys should have a show where you like buy the house, you fix it, and sell it.
Oh, you haven't seen us do construction together.
Oh, I know it would be
People
a very
would
long
pay.
show.
People would pay. Yes, it would be a very long show. People
I do
will
love
pay
the
to see
kitchen
it
color,
because
by the way. It's gorgeous.
yes,
Gorgeous.
but the struggle to
Cauliflower?
get
What is it?
there, the struggle to get there would have been a whole season. And
People don't like watching people fight on TV. Come on.
yeah,
I don't know. There's plenty of shows out there that has that on.
They
it, so,
love
yeah,
it.
I know they love
it.
it.
yeah, I think
This show, the way we torture each other, people are like,
No, it's
that's
good.
kind of funny.
It's good. Yeah, it's good.
I'm like, I want to strangle him. They're like, yeah, that's the best part.
yeah. And I've been holding back because
Because I'll punch you in
I
the
don't
face.
I don't want you to get mad at me. So I've been like, so Rick James over there.
Ricky.
See where we've evolved to?
Ricky-
He's now super
He
freak.
calls that
it's-
evolution.
It's actually Ricky Martin, but go ahead.
Okay. Super freak. So you
I'm Rick James.
you do the
bitch.
majority of his closings?
So on the buy side, I think that's accurate.
That's
but
accurate.
Phil does listings as well.
Mm.
So on the listing side, there's really no need for a finance person because the buyer has their own. But yeah, for the buyers that Phil works with, I think I work with the majority of them. Some of them have their own bank or whatever, and obviously Phil's an ethical guy. He's not going to steer him or anything like that. But
I'm not poaching, but he
Yeah.
is saying, hey, here's an amazing
Yeah.
guy.
Of
Use
of
use
the ones
him
that
if you
a
need
good
one.
resource, yeah.
And what made you get interested in doing this for a living?
Man, that's a good question.
Numbers.
You didn't start there.
I didn't start there. And
What was your what did you want to be?
If I start to unpack this, we'll go down a long road.
Did you want to be a firefighter?
No, I was a musician.
Actually, he was an astronaut.
You were a musician. Were you in Brian's band too?
No, I wasn't. I was in a different band. Well, so Brian taught me how to play guitar. Truth be told, like growing up, right? That was
what band were you in?
I was in a band called Life in Your Way, which
I haven't never heard of you.
We're playing at the House of Blues in Boston on the 29th of November.
Really?
It's a
Sounds
sold out show. Thank you.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
So you play blues.
You're not being sarcastic. No, the House of Blues isn't just blues.
I'm
Life in Your Way
He's totally
I'm
serious.
not being sarcastic.
is the name of your band.
It's the name of the band.
And it's what kind?
It's hard. It's heavy metal, like ultra, super.
That's
like
your wheelhouse,
The
Corey.
heviest freaking metal that you would
Is
listen
it screechy, yelly metal?
Like beyond screechy.
Like, dude,
How
your
have I
singer has
never
big hair.
heard of you before? That's like the industry I work in.
And always have, really.
So
We'll talk offline about it.
we can talk offline.
Why
later.
Boston?
So
Because that's where the House of Blues is, and that's an awesome place to play, especially for the genre they're
Is
playing.
that the area you usually play in, or?
no, our buddies in the band Our Last Night are from the Boston Hollis area. They have a sold out show. I actually got them signed to Epitaph Records, 15 years ago, and Matt's a good friend, and he asked our band to come play their 15-year reunion show, so we said we would do it.
Look at
I'm like,
that.
I'm a 35-year-old dad who gets to go play a sold-out show
Yeah.
at the House of Blues. Why not, right? Let's do it.
And you play guitar.
I do.
Yeah, but I have a good friend of mine, Jason Russell. He plays bass in a band called Hot Rod Circuit,
Of course, I know Hot Rod Circuit.
and they're doing like they're going on tour. They're doing a bunch of shows to replay their album Sorry About Tomorrow. So they just did
What
a
was
string.
lot
that?
of- a lot of time
2003? Was that
references
Yeah.
here.
2003 that came out, I think?
something like that.
2004, somewhere in that.
Give or take.
You
Yeah.
know, there's like a resurgence of people. People are starting to do the albums from early 2000s, late.
Yes.
Like Alanis Morissette is going around and doing Jagged Little Pill. Like I guess it's that time.
Everybody's doing reunions right now.
Okay.
Well,
They're fun.
It's a thing.
I teased Jay because I said the nicest thing is you can have your 9 to 5 where he goes to work, but then you still get to, be a rock star and actually get paid for it because he gets paid better now than he did when the band was really active
Of
and
course.
touring.
Yeah, nobody
So-
makes money playing music, but
No.
years later.
I'm learning that now. I've learned a lot. And that's,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
It doesn't make it not fun.
It's like parenting.
Oh, it's totally fun, but it's like, okay. Yeah.
You're not in
So,
it for the money.
well, he's in his job now for the money because money.
Right. I meant
numbers.
music. I meant
I
music.
know.
Not real estate, you're in it for the money. Very few people probably grow up being like, I'm going to be a realtor. It's just something you start to develop skills in, and you say that
It's actually more rudimentary than that. So to be honest with you, it was very simple. I got to the point in life where I had a few kids, and I said, I don't have a college degree. What on earth can I even do? And I figured out that the mortgage.
Shocker, you're a musician who didn't get a college.
I know,
how
right?
are you doing mortgage without like a business degree?
It's not required. That was one of the. So the research was literally it was a Google search. Like what
Bill
can
Gates
you,
never got,
what can you
got
do without a
degree in
college degree?
either.
And determined that the mortgage industry it lined up with my skill set. It was something of interest. I'm good with numbers, and turns out I'm pretty good at it. It's funny. The mortgage industry is the kind of thing where even if they taught a college course on it,
It changes.
You wouldn't know what you were doing no matter what. It's experiential business.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, everybody's scenario is so drastic.
So is the music business, and so is IT.
So it's like experiential learning. So it's like School of Hard Knocks. You're learning it while you're doing it. The more experience you get, the more you know. And then as it changes, you just keep abreast with the changes.
That's exactly right. It's reps. The more reps you get, the more you know what you're doing.
So you have been doing this how long?
3.5 years.
Before that, you were just 3.5 years ago, you were still trying to make it as a musician?
No, there's a whole I mean, do you want the whole background?
In summary.
I'll give you the.
Do like the high points,
Oh, good Lord.
the
Okay.
crescendos.
Is
that
there's
right?
there's a lot here, right? So I mean, my history is convoluted, but I did the band for years.
Mm-hmm.
I fell into the music industry and music management, which I alluded to with Our Last Night. I got them signed with Epitaph.
Yep.
I got a band signed with Equal Vision. I did a deal with Island Def Jam and Jay-Z and those guys back in the early 2000s. So I was doing the music industry until.
And that's a lot of contracts and paperwork.
Is this why you
too
wanted
there.
to bring him here so we could meet?
It is really. Yeah. I knew it would be more about James
It's
at the
all
end.
about Corey and music.
No, but I mean, there's a lot here, but basically music led to consulting. I did marketing consulting because I learned how to do all this stuff from
Experience.
the music industry guys in New York City. They called it new media back in the day.
Right.
And it eventually became internet marketing. So I kind of learned how to do consulting. So I did that. And a couple of years back, we had Oliver, and I decided to make a transition to a career change. And
A 9-to-5er.
yeah. And so the mortgage industry was the thing that caught my attention. I had a couple of friends that were executives that thought I would be good at it, and they thought correctly.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're a creative guy, friends with Brian, connect with Phil. Everybody's together. You're doing well. Phil's doing well. Everybody's happy.
And the people you're
about
helping are
it.
doing
That's
well
it.
as well.
All right.
All right, well,
have a
thanks for
great day.
coming. Have a great night.
Have a good one.
They're affecting people's lives, and they also have a certain.
So that statement's actually weightier than you have any idea in reality.
And segue. So Phil introduced me to a program a while ago called Homes for Heroes. And Homes for Heroes I found fascinating. I first learned about it back when I was running Till Duty Is Done. And then we've talked about it just recently. Now, both of you are part of this Homes for Heroes program, correct?
Correct.
And this is not a program that you've started, but a program that you became a partner of,
Affiliated with.
with. Okay.
Brought it to Cheshire.
Um,
And beyond.
yeah, in theory, yeah. I mean, yes. The Cheshire, although the Cheshire zip code is mine because you do it by zip code, I can do this anywhere in the state.
Okay.
I can offer this anywhere in the state.
So we talked a little bit before about Phil being somewhat humble, not into, well, I got some awards, doesn't like to compliment himself. But what I do know about this program and what I will say about this program, and it's something so incredible, is what this program does. Firefighters, first responders, veterans, nurses,
teachers,
healthcare
workers.
They get involved with this program and they get money back on their purchase. And that money back they get comes from Phil's salary.
Affiliation. Oh, yeah. My commission. It comes off my commission. Well, I can explain it to you. It might be easier. It's also,
well, you know it better than I do.
Well, yeah. So it's not just their purchase.
Zip
it's
it,
also their sale.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, if a qualifying person hires me to be their real estate agent, and let's just use a $250,000 purchase because I know the numbers off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
At closing, 30% of my pay, my commission, will go to Homes for Heroes. They're about $1,900. It's not quite that, but we'll call that for round numbers. Homes for Heroes, and this is the best part about this, puts that money in three places: their administration, a foundation, and the largest part goes back to the hero, meaning the qualifying person. So of that, say $1,900, they'll get a check back for $1,750 just for qualifying for the program and using me as a real estate agent. With Homes for Heroes also, there's a foundation out there where grants can be applied for up to $5,000 a month for, it's qualifying veterans. It's more for veterans. So
Sure.
if a veteran, it has to work through a 501c3 company. So if a veteran I'm just going to make something up. Let's say if VFW had a veteran in need of a handicapped bathroom, and they needed $5,000 to redo the bathroom, the grant can be applied for that purpose. Now, there's no guarantee they'll get it,
Right.
but that's one of the ways to distribute the money.
And how did you guys stumble upon this program, and why? I'll be honest with you. Why on earth would you want to give up part of your commission?
That's a really good question. To start off with, James found it. That's the short answer. Why? I really have a passion for veterans. I have to tell you, quite honestly, active and retired. I was a first responders. I know all the people on that list, they never stop working.
Yeah.
They don't stop working, whether at work, they're at home. I also know I have teachers in my family. I also know they never stop working.
Mm-hmm.
They're working at home.
You mean they
they're
don't
working
get
at work,
summers off
they're
to just
working at the
enjoy it?
summer.
And they don't stop working at 3 in the afternoon?
No, they do not. And I can tell you that the people in healthcare, my wife is in healthcare, they never stop working. It's always on you. They work really hard, and this is something a way for me to give back. I've given back in the last year and a half $50,000.
Well, you know, I'll also say, and I said it in the Brian's Guitars episode, but Phil was vital to helping Till Duty Is Done raise $14,000 through a guitar auction.
Oh, right. I remember the
that
guitar
he and
auction.
Brian helped spearhead, and you know, that was one of the biggest single donors from a small business that I'd ever seen. So I appreciate that still to this day.
We appreciate doing it too. You know, anything that we can do, you know, the veterans, anything we can do for the people on this list. And again, I do have a passion for the veterans as well as everybody else on that list. But
Sounds like civil servants.
yeah, it's a really outstanding program. I am having a lot of trouble getting it out there to the general public. All I can say is that it is for real. It is just what I say it is. If you are a qualifying person and, you know, you use me as your real estate agent, you will be entitled to getting a money back benefit through Homes for Heroes.
It's really interesting. I mean, you asked the question, why do this? It started with the veteran thing, the connection.
Mm-hmm.
It eventually went to all heroes, but
Yeah.
it was the veteran connection. You know, for he who shall have borne the battle and to care for his widow and his orphan. That's what Abraham Lincoln says. There's a big plaque that says that at the veterans, the U.S. Veterans Affairs, big plaque there. It's Abraham Lincoln quoting that, and it's basically the founding quote for why the VA exists at all. I feel passionate towards veterans in general. Coming into the mortgage industry and discovering that we had the opportunity to impact those folks in a very, very meaningful way, seeing people come off of deployment and being able to actually help them get housing. These are guys who have, men and women, I should say. I say guys generally, but I'm not sexist, but men and women who have been all over the place and they have a chance to put roots down. It's a very emotional thing for them. So to be a part of that was a really cool thing, and that's what drew me in initially. But, of course, the rest of the heroes, it all makes sense. So Homes for Heroes was just kind of a logical choice. And, of course, Phil's history in law enforcement, it was also a logical thing for him. So I just, hey, is this something we ought to do together, just basically to give back? I mean, if you raise your hand and say that you'll be killed or captured for your country, I feel like the least we can do is just be a bro, just like be cool.
No, I
Taking care of our armed forces when they come back is a huge issue, and I feel that we don't do it well enough. I think there are steps being taken to help, but
I think it's gotten a lot better.
When my grandfather, the GI Bill and GI housing, when they all came home he was in Germany. I know that he moved in
For which war?
World War II.
This is a running joke.
So they were put in housing projects. It was GI housing, and there he stayed till the 90s. And it was an apartment, and there weren't programs like this that he felt too proud to take these types of programs. But I think the more you make them available, the more you educate people to the fact that they're there, the more that they'll be used.
And I agree. And this is one of the hardest things that most difficult things I'm having with Homes for Heroes is just getting the word out there. And also I have to watch out not to break the bank. As you can see, this is a take from me. I mean, it's really funded by me and the other affiliates throughout the country. Now, this is the true story. This just happened just recently to a young couple that bought a house here in Cheshire, a veteran. That Homes for Heroes was the difference of them buying or not. They were that close.
Quite literally, that commission was the house underappraised, and they were short enough that the commission give back that Phil did literally made the difference between the transaction closing and not.
No kidding.
That's a true story. And if that was not available, that deal doesn't happen. They do not get a house, and they'd still be living in their rental property.
And that was a sweetheart story as well. I mean, that was a veteran who spent a whole year working his butt off on credit repair because he did not know that he could freeze his credit while he was doing military work, and his credit got destroyed, and he came back and his credit was wrecked because he didn't know to freeze it. Because nobody told him.
I still don't know what you're talking about. You can freeze your credit
when you're deployed. Yes.
Okay.
So that was one of the biggest things that we focused on when we were running Till Duty Is Done, was providing the veterans with all of the resources that they could use. And it wasn't just vets; it was active duty military men and women. And it was connecting them with all of these different resources that were available. That's why we created what is now and still active as Vets Rock. When we created Vets Rock, the idea was to put all of the veteran service organizations in one room and invite all the veterans in for free to come and connect with all of these.
Look what you
VSAs.
have offered to you. Mm-hmm.
Here is what you have offered. And then we developed a case worker relationship where we would have veterans who would work with other veterans, active or coming off deployment, to help connect them with all these other resources. So we created this whole organization that said, okay, Rick James, you're coming off a deployment. Here's what you need to know.
Or before you're going.
Or before you're going,
like
Phil, this is what you need to know. You need to know that you can freeze your credit. You can do this, this, and this. You can, you don't have to make your car payments. There's so many things you can
So he
lock
comes
away.
back from deployment. He cannot buy a house. His credit's destroyed, and he comes to you guys and says,
his credit's probably
how do you
380.
Well, he had been back for a while, but his credit had still been destroyed.
Takes forever.
Yeah, because he just didn't know what to do. So we connected him with some credit repair. I mean, he spent a whole year, literally.
He did it, though. He did everything
work.
he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, like, we're not credit repair specialists. We don't do that.
Right.
We connect you with people who do it, but you've got to do the work. But
it's not easy.
He owned it, and he spent a whole year working on that. And so we get all the way to the finish line, and like 2 weeks before the house closes, it underappraises by $5,000. I mean, it was, minuscule. And the question is, where's the rest of the money coming from? And like, quite literally, it was the give back from Homes for Heroes that made that work for this gentleman, which is, I think that says a lot.
Why does buying a house have to be such a roller coaster? It's so emotional buying a house.
It's difficult. There's so many moving parts.
And the more fragile you are, the more emotional that roller coaster is.
That's why it is so important, aside from Homes for Heroes, aside from the fact that these guys are in the real estate business, it's so important to connect with the right agent.
100%.
In any business you do, you always have the guys that are there to just, get their paycheck every week. And then you have the people that know.
The people that give up 30% of their commission to help their clients.
Well, yeah.
I didn't even know people like that existed.
I did. That's why he's here.
Yeah.
No, Tricia, there's another thing about Homes for Heroes is if you're selling and buying, you get it twice. You get both sides.
Yeah, think about that. You save 25% of the commission on the sales side, and then you get an additional whatever it is on the buy side. I mean, you could be talking about a swing of, on some transactions, $10,000.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with people who are not, civil servants are not making a lot of money.
Most of
this is people that will make the difference between ownership and not.
Short of the doctors on here and the really, really high-level military guys, nobody's making six figures.
Doctors have student loans.
No.
I mean, even the high-level military guys aren't really making what they should be making.
True.
I closed a deal in Wallingford this past year. James was on the finance side of it. And this young lady who was getting ready to get married, again, coming in light. I mean, things were tight. And she qualified for Homes for Heroes with her job. And we did get it closed. And the Homes for Heroes check back to her was almost identical to her first month's mortgage payment.
Yeah, that sounds, I was going to say, it sounds like that.
Yep. So
sounds like it works out.
So she was able to do something, because when you buy a house, you don't think about it. You need curtains, you need so many different things. It adds up. And where are you going to get all that? You're hanging towels in the window if you don't have the money.
Right.
So
I would use sheets, though.
Yeah.
Let me ask this, Phil. So it sounds to me like you've just outlined two of your favorite stories from the Homes for Heroes, and I'm sure there's more than two.
They must all be heart-touching.
What In your 25-year career on the Cheshire Police Department, what's your favorite feel-good moment? Do you have one?
Let me think about that for a minute.
You got some stories.
Well,
I'm like, did you ever help
I would
birth the
say
baby?
the most feel-good moments. I was assisted in 3 childbirths.
I was going to say, do you ever help birth a baby?
That was the most. Yeah.
That
Not
must
that,
be
not that I was
fantastical.
so much hands-on, but I was there assisting, and there was a live. The birth was given right there at the scene. So
The miracle of birth is
mm-hmm.
I mean, when it's your own, it's an incredible thing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't experienced it outside. I can only imagine what that,
I could imagine the women were a little nervous. I'm glad you thought it was magical and beautiful, but they were probably like, this isn't ideal.
Hey, look at this cop.
I know. Oh, could you help here? Can you stop taking pictures? Imagine.
What do you miss most about the police department?
I miss the guys.
Just
I miss my guys. Yeah, I miss the guys, I should say. I mean, we grew up together. We were young guys, and we all, put on a lot of years together and retired pretty much together. There's no going back, obviously, because we've all gone our ways. But there's quite a family.
And
very much miss our police chief that both of them that tragically passed away in office.
Yeah, that was such a weird thing.
Yeah.
We had, and Tricia doesn't know this because she moved to town 2 years ago, but we had 2 police chiefs consecutively who died suddenly in their position.
6 months apart.
Yeah. Weird.
My first day as sergeant, when I got promoted a little bit later in my career, my first day as sergeant, my first call was to the 2nd police chief's house.
Yeah, crazy.
Yep.
And they were both heart attacks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, something to that effect. I don't
Natural
know.
causes.
Natural causes, yeah.
And then Neil started working.
Both were the same age, too.
Yeah. It was...
Were they in their late 50s?
54.
Mm.
Whoa.
Yep.
That's the age.
Scary.
And then Neil started working here.
That's the age.
Yes, I didn't work with him very long, maybe a month.
Oh, really? Not that long?
No.
Neil used to work with my uncle in Hartford. So my uncle was a Hartford detective. He spent about the same amount of time as you did, about 25 years in Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
I keep trying to get him scheduled to come on the show because he ran the gang task force in Hartford throughout the 90s. So
I bet he has some awesome stories.
Oh, you remember that TV show Gangland that was on History Channel? When they did the Hartford Los Solitos episode, he's the cop they're interviewing because he
Hartford has a Los Solitos gang.
Yeah, he was the head of all those investigations. He's got, some really incredible and shocking stories that, but I mean, it's different than Cheshire.
And the Bronx.
Yeah, we don't have Latin kings in Cheshire.
We had a few.
At least that I know of. Yeah, I know you did in Bronx.
We did have some touches with him, I have to say, back in the day, but
well, I'm sure with our position in the state and our highways and
when you think about where we are, and you guys are probably too young, but we did have a nightclub up the north end of town for a while.
Oh, where Cagino's is.
Correct.
Yeah, I used to.
It did bring in a lot of different people.
I used to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Any affiliation with the prison? No, right? You guys?
No,
that's
prison
federal.
was really in all my time. I think we had one escape.
Last
it
Halloween.
wasn't really. Well, as of my time, that's another time. But and it was a walk away. It was where they ended up getting captured before they got out of town. It was not that big of a deal. For the most
this
part.
Halloween we were reminiscing. I'm like, remember last year when we thought it was fake?
How do you get out of prison? I mean, how does that happen?
And he was bloodied, and they thought it was his Halloween costume.
Desperation.
Yeah.
You ever watch
Imagine
Shawshank Redemption?
Of course.
That's a different type of desperation.
What did he say? He crawled through a mile of
Sewage.
Shit smelling that I can't even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And God, what a great! I got to watch that movie tonight.
There you go.
Been a lot of Stephen King references for me today. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to pick up his latest
Maybe you
book.
need to.
I'm gonna have to read his latest. It's true. It's calling me.
You ever read Desperation by Stephen King? I got that in there.
It's like quite literally right there.
I see it. I see
That's the reason I brought it up because it's right there.
I just followed him on Insta. He loves his dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's hysterical. He's hysterical. You should follow him on Instagram.
Okay.
It's worth it.
You don't want to see who I follow on Instagram.
Nope, I don't.
Stephen King has a beach house that's like one house down from my wife's stepbrother.
No kidding.
Yeah.
In Connecticut?
No, in Casey Key, Florida. It's like the weirdest
In
thing.
Florida. I was going to say
weird,
Maine.
Weird connections.
I don't know that he spends as
Stephen
much time
King
in
filmed-
Maine anymore as he used to. Maine's such a weird place.
That's why they call them maniacs.
They're maniacs. That's funny. I know the water is like stabbing knives. It's so cold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The water's mean.
Yeah. Yep. The area we were up at Moosehead Lake. It was the end of July. And I jumped in that water and
Oh, it's like being stabbed by like
I'm like, why is this water so cold?
I'm
It's
gonna
July.
die.
It's been 100 degrees for 5 days in a row. This water's still 35 degrees.
We went to a wedding on Shabig Island, and it was so incredibly beautiful.
Shabig Island?
Shabig.
Okay.
Shabig? You know how I am with
I own a piece of
pronunciations.
an island up in Maine called Hawaii too.
Do you? The little foot stamp that you said? That's cool.
Yeah.
Also known as Cold Hawaii.
Cold Hawaii?
Cold Hawaii. Hawaii too. Cold Hawaii. Maine.
Cold Hawaii.
I don't know that I heard it
'Cause
ever
it's-
called Cold Hawaii.
are there-
Do you own a piece too? Do you own your 1 by 1 foot piece?
I do not.
It's a Cards Against Humanity thing. Did you ever hear about this?
No.
Did you ever play Cards Against Humanity?
I've seen it.
I'm a huge fan, so I buy like everything that they do. And one year they had a surprise gift. So you spend $15, and the surprise gift was a 1 foot by 1 foot
Parcel.
piece of this island called Hawaii too that the company actually bought
And now you own.
in Maine.
So you've actually got real estate in Maine.
You have to
Yes.
find out all your neighbors and buy their pieces bit by bit.
And well, what happened was all these people went up to Maine to put their flag that they sent you on their 1 foot by 1 foot. I mean, they
It's a
send
nice
you
little trek,
the
right?
whole like
little road trip.
the deed to the,
This is very pop culture-ish.
well, the people of the town this island is in were pissed
Ooh, okay.
because
That was a bad PR stunt, huh?
yeah, it didn't go over well. But I own a piece of property.
Is
in
your
Maine.
flag still there? Is
I-
it like your
I-
face like,
I have not gone there to do it.
oh, you didn't
Yeah.
go.
You should go.
If you go, YouTube it, please.
Yeah, we'll have to go and do that. Hopefully, this episode will bring some attention to Homes for Heroes. And sorry we get a little silly, but
No,
Me
that's,
too.
that's
it got
fine.
heavy
It's-
for a minute,
it's
so I
our-
had to get
It's our shtick.
I had to get out of it.
I mean, we're very happy to help. Happy to answer any questions.
How can people get in touch with you, Phil?
My cell phone is always best. Can I? give it?
philforheroes.com. What a great
If-
website.
If you want to give your number out, that's fine.
That's
Do you have
fine.
a website or a Facebook
Yeah, it's
page?
Phil Giampietro sellcthomes.com.
Okay,
That's
we'll
way too
link.
long.
We will link to it on the page.
Okay, and my cell is 203-415-7664. That's always attached to
And
me.
you're anything real estate.
I'll do anything real estate.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to extend this program.
The thing that's so interesting about Homes for Heroes, just kind of the last comment, is most of the people we talk to about the program, there's a lot of people who apply who they're just applying with us because they got referred to us and don't realize they qualify, and they are coming through, they're not even expecting it, and we're saying, hey, did you know you qualify for this thing we do?
Yeah, here's your first month's mortgage.
Hey, by the way, I know you don't expect this, but did you know that we have a benefit I'm going to give back to you right now that
That's
you're
awesome.
not looking for? And the response overwhelmingly is, what's the catch?
Right.
Always.
Nothing in life is free.
It-
you know that it's
No one ever believes it's
It
legitimate.
makes it so difficult, and there really is nothing.
because you are still getting a commission.
I am-
You're just donating back a portion because of your appreciation for how they contribute to society.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
That's pretty altruistic. I can see people coming in disbelief, but leaving really thankful.
well, and they all deserve it. So any little bit helps, and as we've seen, most of them, I would say, almost all of them, it makes the difference. It's a big deal. It costs so much money, even after closing, just to get into your house.
Well, there's also a distinct difference too. Like Homes for Heroes sending you a physical check that you cash and deposit into the bank.
Takes a little bit of that bite out of
it's-
the beginning.
It's not a realtor rebate, right? Like nobody's giving you a credit that gets deducted from. You're done, you're closed, you're in your house, and a check shows up in the mail.
Right.
That's different.
It's cash.
And if you had used any other realtor who doesn't offer this program, you'd pay the same commission, or you would lose the same money, but that check would never show up.
That's correct.
Yeah.
There are other
very cool.
affiliates in the state. I'm not the only one. Just to be clear, I do have the
He's
Cheshire
just the
zip
best one.
code.
People who listen to the show aren't only listening in Connecticut. This is nationwide.
This is a nationwide
So
program.
if you're listening to the show and you are a person who contributes to
Yeah,
society
believe it or
this
not,
way,
we have
look
listeners
it up.
outside of the state. It's crazy.
You know,
I
and
never
that,
would have thought.
We have listeners in different countries. It's
Yeah, we
kinda cool.
do. Like regular listeners in other countries.
Surely they grew up in Cheshire or something.
Must
No,
have.
I have no
not
idea.
always.
I have no idea.
And they might not understand the hyper stuff we talk about with Cheshire, but most of our shows are universally themed.
Well,
So,
it is a
like,
nationwide program,
there you go.
and
See?
that
they might know somebody who
that
could use
benefit
it.
goes up or down depending on your purchase or your sale. And James, just can you read off a couple numbers on there?
Sure.
Just for example.
So this is the realtor reward, right? You buy a $150,000 house, you're going to get a check back from Homes for Heroes for $1,050. You buy a $250,000 house, you get a check back from Homes for Heroes for $1,750. You buy a $500,000 house, you get a check back in the mail, $3,500. You buy a $750,000 house, which, let's be honest,
That's only Corey can do.
only
that.
Corey can
No,
do that.
if you have doctors
Corey,
on there, you
Corey buys a house, right? He gets back a check for $5,250. And let me read this: no red tape, no hidden fees.
I'm not
and
getting
no
a check
catch.
back for anything because my wife is not affiliated, and
you're a fire person.
but I couldn't.
You're like a surgeon.
I have to use
He
my
plays one on
wife to do
TV.
my real estate deals.
messy.
I can't use Phil. That's just not.
Well, maybe.
I'm the only one that has to use my wife.
Well, maybe Jen can become an affiliate of Homes for Heroes.
There's a way to do that. She would just have to go into another zip code because that's kind of how.
He's like, because this is mine.
well, it's just the way. It's kind of the way. It's kind of the way you do it.
It's like the cable companies.
They really do
Territory.
want. They really do want a local rep in every zip code. So it's not like a weird territorial thing. It's they want someone who's familiar and local and on the ground and can really be a resource and fills that person for Cheshire and beyond, but especially Cheshire.
Speaking of Cheshire and real estate, West Main, it's blowing up. Do you see good things happening there?
Giampietro Boulevard, you mean?
You see a lot of stuff going in there.
I heard Brian bought the Chinese restaurant and Pop's Pizza.
And the
and
furniture.
I funded him, right?
yeah.
Phil
You gave
paid-
him the
Phil paid
seed
the
money.
bill.
You
And
bought
the
a few
furniture
guitars.
But he paid his dad off pretty quick.
Yeah.
Nice.
We have the new pizza place coming in next week. I can't wait to talk.
Yeah,
talk to
and
him.
you know what? The building's really shaping up. We're really, really happy about that. It was such a nice offer.
Fuoco?
Is that what it is? It's not-
Fuoco? Fire?
No.
Fuoco?
Something like that.
Wait.
Fuco?
I'm confused. You confused me. Are you talking about the West Main Music Academy? Or are you talking
The
about
pizza place that's opening up on West Main.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you talking about the pizza place?
Yeah.
Or were you okay.
Okay. That's,
All right.
that's,
Where you been?
You lost me in
Where
the
you been,
conversation.
Corey?
you know, I've been in Cheshire my whole life, and my wife as well. And you know, we go to other towns that have that hub.
Yeah. The walkable Main Street.
And we don't have that, but I see West Main Street
Starting.
could be that place.
Yeah.
It
It's a
really
little seedling.
right, and you know,
Giampietro has a lot to do with that the strength of that seedling.
thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Giampietro.
Giampietro.
So I'm hoping. I have my fingers crossed for the ball and socket.
Ball and
Looks like
socket,
They
yeah.
have great plans for that. You know, Brian
coming on soon,
Yeah,
too.
Brian's doing his thing. The new pizza place, and there's other.
If only
nice
we can
shops.
get a podcast on that street. It'd be great.
We will grow.
Maybe in the lesson studio, there's some space for you guys to have a permanent home. Just throwing it out there. No pressure. I mean,
In
no
the what
pressure.
studio?
Well, I got a bunch of gear for a legit recording studio. I just need a place to put it all. So
Are you
never
going
know.
to sing?
no, I have a partner who has a professional recording studio, and he has a whole set of gear that he can put into another home to have a satellite studio. And we were just talked about that the other day, and he's like, just find the spot and let's do it.
The podcasts are huge. If we just had like a centrally loaded podcast studio, the stuff that would come out of Cheshire would be so awesome.
Yeah. So
Especially off West Main. It's
so
like a cultural hub.
So
Well, I think that's where it would need to be. I think
Yes.
that's if anything's going to happen in Cheshire as far as a hub, it appears to be it's going to be.
And there'll
now.
be some great pizza because there's a couple of
Don't-
different.
And there's a guitar store over there. Don't
Is
forget.
there?
Yeah, there is. There is one. Yeah, Brian's guitars. Yeah.
Who still sells guitars?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
What a crazy idea.
They're beautiful.
Phil, Rick James, thank you both for coming in. I appreciate it.
You ever watch the Chappelle Show?
Of course.
Stop it.
I'm Rick James, bitch. You ever remember that song?
Stop it.
Okay.
We're ending the show now. The
Adios.
show is over.
Go in peace.
It is time to say thank you to James and thank you to Phil for coming in. We want everybody to check out that website still works, right? philforheroes.com.
Yes.
So check out philforheroes.com. We'll post his personal cell phone number, which is a crazy idea to do on the internet, but we're going to do it
It's
anyway.
out there anyways.
Only a guy who's been retired 3 times would put up his
Yeah, right?
cell phone number.
We want people to check out Homes for Heroes and, really get involved with Phil's program and James' program and get some money back on their home purchase. And hopefully we can help get the word out and help some vets and help some firefighters and teachers and doctors and first responders, police, guys, all that stuff. It'll be good. Right? Do you approve?
I approve.
Okay.
An official stamp of approval.
Phil, thank you.
Thank you.
James,
Big
thank
brother.
you.
Thank you.
And don't put the microphone down yet, because
Do you have to sing? You don't have to sing.
No.
Do you?
I hope not.
1, 2, 3, we're all going to say goodbye. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Let's get out of here! Like now!
Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call.
Okay, see you later, pal.
Amigos, time to depart.